ain't got the fucking kayak. You gotta learn how to swim.
This is fucked up.
Should we give him a lift?
Yeah.
I think I was like, oh!
Fair, tell him to hold off the back.
Everybody, you can swim down wherever you fucking retard. I think I'll stay here. How am I gonna get you back home? You don't think Mama Marquise is gonna be worried?
Hey, your mom. My mom's name. My dad's
Your mom is always worried about you.
My dad's in prison.
I think that's why. Your dad's in prison himself. By looking at you. Bro, we just got you. You have a fucking life jacket on, Marquise.
I'll just wait.
Bro, you have a life jacket.
Oh, I'm black. It doesn't matter. It's not gonna save me.
Bro, yes it does.
Bro, I'll just find a way. Hey. Yeah, they think I'm about to swim back, but I can't swim.
Bro, you have a life jacket.
I'm gonna die.
I'm standing right
Hold
now.
on.
So I can just like hold on to that.
Handle right here if you want.
Yeah, I might drown.
You won't drown.
I'm gonna try to get over there.
You're not gonna drown. I promise you won't drown.
There you go.
Thank you.
What's your name?
Hey,
What's your
Oh,
name?
my name is Marquise. Everybody calls me LeVar because I go to like Denellen.
are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was okay getting over here. They think I'm about to swim back. I can't even swim.
Doing a good job right now.
Talking about what it is. And it's my first time here.
It's your
Oh,
first
first time? Well, welcome.
Yeah.
How'd you get over here?
Yeah, what
They made me
happened?
take that way over there, and they had 2 life jackets on.
I'm glad we ran into you.
Oh, you fucking pussy.
I'm never coming back with y'all.
Yo, we told you if you were coming, we had a life jacket.
Life
makes you
jacket.
float.
Same did it for a big kid. This for a little kid.
That's scary though if you're not used to water.
Yeah.
I just swim my pool in my backyard.
Yeah. Spring water's different.
It's a lot different, you know.
We're almost there. Ooh, the wind.
That wind.
I know, it's really strong. And there's a current. You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm never coming back with y'all. I'm here.
No, what to say?
And fuck, his friends are fucking assholes.
I wonder how old he was.
I would never do that to him. You don't do that, like.
I would never do that to anybody. Goodness.
See, alright, so first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Kakadash. We say that when it's a person and it's a great most on Ruba, our teachers are person in truth, and we say salutations so the Akim, so they put you within truth and sincerity, day in and day out, and constantly in season on the season, we say Shalom. And once again, going into a video here, and I know touching upon the video that I just played on the screen, you know, since this guy, as you can see at the start, his name I see starting up here to say in light of the Nolan Wells case and being asked to re-upload this video multiple times, here it is, right? So Nolan Wells was the Jake that was recently they found his body, right, where he went somewhere with some Edomites, right? And you know, the next thing the family heard was that he died, right? And just like many other cases, right? I remember doing a video on the Nolan Wells situation when it first came out, and I mentioned a woman where this woman, right? She went and had a sleepover with, you know, some Edomite woman, right? And the next thing they know is that she was found dead, right? That case was literally covered up because one of the women husband was a lawyer, the other one, I believe they said, was a police, the other one was a judge, the other one husband was a judge, you know. And again, there are many other scenarios that they can pinpoint where those kind of things happen, right? Now, one of the stuff, and this is a perfect example of it here, and there was a video, right, with Nolan Wells that came out where you could have seen him and well, his so-called friends, right? Because again, Esau is not a friend. Esau is basically your enemy. Esau is an enemy, matter of fact. Now, when they go to the scripture, right, and they go to Psalms, the book of Psalm, chapter 83, right? I'm gonna go to it here. Psalms 83, and I go read from. If you hear any noise in the background, it's just some bad weather at this moment, right? But Psalms 83, and I'll read I'll start from verse 2, right? It said, matter of fact, I'm read from verse 1. It said, keep not thou silence, O God, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. It said, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. So it said for what? For lo, thine enemies. It didn't say your friends. Because when you're going on further on in this same chapter here, it's going to tell you who your enemies are, right? Who your enemies are. And one thing about Jake, right? Right? One thing about Jake is that they believe that Esau, Edom is the friends. They are not, right? And again, many scenarios where it happened like this, where like this particular page, it does a very good job, right? Where it releases videos and information where it would show Jake ending up in a situation where, and when I say Jake, I mean you Israelites, right? You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and natives, right? Situations where they would go out with their friends, right? The so-called friends, the Edomite friends, right? And they would show up rather missing, right? Never to be seen again. In other cases, they would show up, dead, right? And nothing to come out of it. And when you go to read some of the comments, because when you go to the comments here, right, this is the kind of hatred that Esau have here. When the scriptures mention they have a perpetual hatred, and when you look at the word perpetual, it means everlasting, never ending, right? That hatred will always be there. So when you read, this person put a comment, the monkey noises were crazy. Those were never his friends and probably would have left him. Why? Because you're right. They were never his friend because what? They are enemies. But Jake love. If you listen to his voice, it have a particular voice that is means off of, and that is the voice. These are the same Jakes that would make Esau do them all sorts of different things, right? So the scripture say, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. It say hate, it didn't say love. And that's something again to your mind, that hey, your enemies, they're not going on love you, right? They're not. So when I read some of the comments here, so this person made a comment, and then it had the Edomites. So one thing about these things is that when you go into the comments, you would see that it have other Edomites that obviously they wouldn't show their pictures. They would comment using some other AI picture or something, and then they will leave this particular statement. Sources tell me he OD'd on Fent, right? Esau have that thing with Fent, right? They say this person said they joke around with him all the time, unlike you loser. See, right? So that's continuing. You can see this. Edomite, he put a comment here. You can see you just know, right? They say they joke around with him all the time, unlike you loser. So it's a joke, but a friend would never do that, right? An enemy would. An enemy would make those kind of jokes, right? I'm gonna bring a scripture here. The scripture I was looking for here. Right. So this is the book of Surah, chapter 6, verse. And let me read from. No, let me just go straight to the point. This is the book of Surah, chapter 6, verse 13. Because you could see throwing around, you see somebody Edomites in the comment, they're throwing around the word friends. Right? Friends. But these people were just your enemies. And we will go back to this psalm just now. But just because the word friends being thrown around, like this comment here, even when you read the first post, he said his friends. So even in that situation, you trap on the other side, they want to swim back across with a baby size. Because when you read the post here, it says white teenagers in Florida left their black friend Marquise to drown in a river while taunting him with slurs and monkey noises from the shore. And you know, when you listen to the video, you heard all of that. He said Marquise couldn't swim well and was wearing an ill-fitting child-sized life jacket. A kayaking family rescued him as he feared for his life. He said his friends expected him to swim back alone. This kind of racist behavior is disgusting and should be investigated, right? So they wanted him to swim back across with just a life jacket, and he cannot swim. A friend wouldn't do that, but an enemy would. So when they go to the book of Surah, chapter 6, it says, separate thyself from thine enemies. It didn't say join unto them. It said to separate yourself, right? And it's something Jake failed to realize, that these people are your enemies. You understand? They are your enemies. They are not your friends. So, in it here, it says, separate thyself from thy enemies and take heed of thy friends. Right? So, separate. When you look at the word separate, let's do a quick Google search. Right? Separate. It says separate. Separate means to set, keep, or pull apart. Right? Or to what? Pull apart. Let's see if I get a better meaning here. Then go to the Merriam-Webster. It says separate. It says to set or keep apart, disconnect, to make a distinction between. To make a what? A distinction between. Right? Right? So going back to the scripture, it says separate thyself from thy enemies and take heed of thy friends. Right? It says a faithful friend is a strong defense, and he that had found such, and one had found a treasure. Right? So and this, when you read it, I see the word friends being thrown around here, but hey, you cannot expect Esau, Edom to be your friends when they are your enemies. And this is the kind of situation that's coming from it. You understand? It's straight as it could be. Right? Hey, and hey, this scripture applying to the, hey, you see what? A faithful friend is a strong defense, and he that had found such, and one had found a treasure. Right? And that's like, you know, you had the brothers, the Akim. Right? But nonetheless, going back to 13, it says, towards to separate thyself from my enemies, and that is what you're supposed to be doing. You see, hey, the time that we're heading into, picture a civil war. If this is the kind of stuff Esau Edom doing, hey, straight out right now, imagine a civil war or something along those lines. Hey, it have videos where it had these Edomites, they're actually waiting for something to pop off so they could hunt down Jake. You know, go and look up it have this what happened in New Orleans when it had hurricane. I think it's Hurricane Katrina. When that hurricane, and when it happened, go and look up what the Edomites was doing there. You know, they come with the boats, they was hunting Jake, shooting them in the back and so forth. Because that is things that an enemy would do. Leaving you trapped on the other side of a river, right? You cannot swim, right? They're making monkey noises, they're doing all these things, you know. That is what an enemy would do, and not a friend, right? So no, once they get something else here. Let me see if I could get it here quick. I remember it. It was one I was looking for in the book of Sirach. I'm seeing it. I can't was it Sirach 6? Now, you know what? Let me just go back to the book of Psalms. Right? The book of Psalms, chapter 83, and go back to verse 3. Right? You see, see they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. He said they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. You see, for they have consulted together with one consent. With what? With one consent. He said they are confederate against thee. You see, the tabernacles of Edom, and they call, what shows it first on that list? The who? The tabernacles of Edom. And when they go, verse 2 said what? Follow thine enemies. Right? And then in that same line it said, and they that hate thee. Right? They hate you all. You see the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes. Right? And when they go on, it continues showing them and giving them names of those other nations. Right? You know, just go online and look up what Ammon and Moab just be saying about Jake on a daily basis. Right? So again, let's say what? Your enemies. And the scripture say to do what? To separate yourself from your enemies, not to be in a river with them, not to be joined unto them. You know? So let me just read some of these comments here. Say, I hope the parents use this as a teaching moment for their own kids, how to be and not to be a friend, and who to be friends with. Right? To say everybody not your friend and not your partner. These MF is snakes and cut the head off in a quicksand. Right? So I Edomite here, you know? I Edomite. I listen to your comment. Also teach your kids how to swim. And somebody mark, you were one of those kids. Once we can tell, yeah. But listen to it here. He's a what? A pastor. Yo. You know? But again, these people are your enemies. Nolan Wells, you know, there's going to look up the situation with him. This guy here, and there are many other things. This page does a pretty... Is it this page, right? Yeah, this page, right? This page. It does a pretty good thing of exposing Esau when it comes to the hatred that they showed Jake on a daily basis. Right? So with that, once again, I give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakadash. We say that when it's apostle, and it's a great Muslim rule, our teachers, our apostles in the truth, and we say salutations, so the Akim, they push you with truth and sincerity, day in and day out, and constantly in season and season, we say Shalom.